So, hello everybody. Hello to the people that are watching us live, and also to the people who are going to watch us offline, because we will have a recording of this session, and it will be on the Jack's Jug channel on YouTube. So this is the Jacksonville Java user group that's been around for many years now. The last year plus, we became virtual like everybody else. And in the last couple of meetings, we moved into this Hermit platform that has all kind of neat advantages over the plain broadcast that we used to do. It allows us a lot more interactivity and can have people at the stage like we just did, and we can go to we have the lounge where we can go afterwards and talk at the table. But at this point, we're coming to the main event of the night, or early in the morning, depending how you look at it. And we have Vipin Sharma that I'm going to hand you the stage, and please feel free, please present yourself, tell us everything you plan to talk about. So here you go. This is our March meetup, and we hope to see you in the next one. You can go ahead.
Thanks, Eyal. So I'll start GC stress, talking about GC stress. Before that, a few things like we talked about. Bill here is doing Scala programming. That is going to be helpful for him as well. And also I know somebody has expertise in C++. Maybe he can help us somewhere, some of the places, because I see couple of places we have C++ related stuff. We'll talk about that. Okay, so I'll start the session. I'll start sharing my screen. I hope you guys can see this. Eyal, can you see this? Okay, great. I see thumbs up. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, guys, so today we are going to talk about GC stress, and we are trying to eliminate nightmare of debugging concurrency problems. Okay. Let me put it on presentation mode. Okay, anyway, I'll start. Maybe I don't see it somewhere here. Okay, so before starting, this is about me, some introduction. My name is Vipin Sharma. I'm a senior software developer having 12 plus years of experience with Java. I help professional Java developers to learn language features so they can work on the best Java projects. And I run a blog, jfeatures.com. And this is going to be our agenda today. We'll first talk about what is GC stress, and then we'll start with writing your first GC stress test, and then how do you interpret results, and then we'll talk about different GC stress APIs to test the common use cases we have in our everyday programs, in our everyday Java projects. Okay, and I would also suggest, in case you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself, and let's talk about it. It would be really good to have a interactive session where you can ask any question anytime. Okay. So the first problem is a bug in Java concurrency code. Like, how do you test your code? Like, if you are writing a concurrent program, Java concurrent program, how do you test it? That is the first problem. So, why I'm asking this problem, this question is because the way you solve concurrent bug is just, you can just look at the code. You can try to say, oh, this can happen, that can happen, and that's the only way you can solve the problem. Generally, most of the cases I have seen, debugger doesn't help much. Debugger, there are cases you may not be able to simulate in debugging, right? You cannot debug this in your IDE, favorite IDE, and then find out immediately, yes, this is the problem. So that's the reason concurrency bugs are really annoying bugs, not so easy to find out bugs. Okay, and also if your application is working in production environment and it has been working for a couple of years, it doesn't mean that is correct. It doesn't mean your concurrent code is correct. There are problems I have seen even in JDK code. Okay, and recently there are some problems fixed in JDK code as well. Okay, now let's talk about JC Stress. So JC Stress is a tool developed by mainly developed by JVM developers, okay, to test JDK itself. Okay, and it is a tool we can also use in our projects. We can also try to utilize this tool to test any concurrent program. Okay, so we'll go through how to use JC Stress, and before that, I would like to show you what is JC Stress, where exactly we have this tool on GitHub, okay, and how it is maintained and all. So I'll just spend a minute on that. Can you still see my screen? I'm sharing GitHub link. Okay, great, thanks. So this is JC Stress project. This is my fork. I'll go to the main project. It lies under OpenJDK. Now OpenJDK is available on GitHub.
Vipin, just wanted to make sure we are still seeing your slides. You want to show us a different screen?
Sure. Yes. I'll present my entire desktop.
Okay.
Now can you see a Firefox window with GitHub?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, great. So this is where we have JC Stress. This is under OpenJDK. Now OpenJDK is on GitHub, and related projects are also, most of the projects are, I should also available on on GitHub, like JC Stress. Okay, so this is the project, and you see guy here, Shipilev. He is a JVM developer at Red Hat. He is main developer for this tool. There are a couple of other contributors as well, we can see here. Okay, so this is like if you look at this GitHub link, it has a README file, it has usage instructions, how to test, and a lot of other things. How do you contribute if there is any test you have? Okay, we'll go through this about like this as well. But before that, let's talk about a basic test. Let's talk about what is JC Stress, like what is its strength, how does it work, and we'll take a look at it using one sample test. We'll try to see how this sample test works. This is very important part of the presentation. That important that I want to go through this test 2 times. Okay, so first I'll talk about the different annotations. So JC Stress works on basis of annotations. Okay, so I'll talk about what does any annotation mean, and then we'll talk about how it is working. Okay, so the first annotation is JC Stress. It means the test we see right now, the class we see, it is going to be treated as JC Stress test. We can run this test. Okay, we'll see in a moment how to run this test, but let's talk about what are the different what are different APIs in terms of annotations it provides. The next one is outcome, @outcome. It talks about what is going to be outcome of the test. Right now you may say what is outcome, we didn't talk about it. So just keep it in mind, it is outcome, we'll talk about it in a while. Okay. Then we have a state object. So we have class API sample and 01 underscore simple. This is our test class, and it is also a state class. We call it a state because it is going to store a state for us, which some of the threads are going to change. So the state lies in v, int v here. Then we have two methods, actor1, actor2. Actor means the method annotated with actor is going to be treated like is going to be executed by a separate thread. So we can say if there are two threads in test, then thread T1 is going to execute actor1, thread T2 is going to execute actor2. And if we have two methods with two actor annotations, then definitely there are going to be two threads per test execution. We call it in language of JC stress per occurrence. We'll see why we are calling occurrence and where else we have this occurrence part. Okay. Then the other thing is important thing is II underscore result. Okay. This is a result class. If you look at its declaration definition, then it will also be annotated with at the rate result. We'll see this code as well. Okay. Then this is the place we do r.r1 equals to plus plus v. This is the way we are changing state, and we are storing it in result. Result has two variables, r1 and r2. Okay. It can have any number of variables depending on result type. So we'll see like why do we have this r1, r2, where is r3, why not r3 and all. We'll see that also in a while. Okay. So we talked about different annotations because this is important part to understand anything else later. So I'll just go over this again, how it works. So when I'm running my test, this test is going to start two threads because there are two actors. So thread 1 is going to execute actor 1, thread 2 is going to execute actor 2. And this, which one gets executed first, that's not specified deliberately, because we want to make sure anything goes first. Both are in, at times both are in parallel. If I have multiple CPUs on my machine, and then we want to see if effects of one thread are visible by other thread. Okay, so let's say we executed two threads. It changed the state. First one updates the variable v, second one is also updating variable v. First one is storing state in r1, second one is storing state in r2. Okay, then we want to see outcome. What is outcome? So outcome is here, we are saying outcome at the rate outcome. We'll see first id equals to 1 1. So this first is going to present r1, the second one is going to present r2. Okay, and then we say expect equals to expect dot acceptable interesting. Okay, so let's not talk about this first one. We'll say expect dot acceptable. Okay, when it is 1 and 2, that means this is r1, here it is r1 is 1. That means actor 1 has incremented, then actor 2. So it was initially 0. Then actor 1, when actor 1 increments, it becomes 1. Then when actor 2 increments, it becomes 2. So when actor 2 increments, it sees yes, actor 1 has incremented already. It is able to see the result, and it makes it 2. Then we have another result, which is 2 1. That means first actor 2 incremented, then actor 1. So when actor 2 is incremented, actor 1 is able to see the result. Okay, but we know as per Java memory model right now, because this is plain integer int v, there's no guarantee if one thread is updated value, second thread is going to see that. Okay, so that's the reason we have a interesting behavior here. So we call it acceptable interesting, and it says both are going to be 1. So the result of both of them are be 1. So that means the description says both actors came up with the same value. Atomicity is failure, because there's no guarantee in HPE Java memory model if result of one are seen by it's going to be seen by other thread. Okay, that's why it is tagged as acceptable interesting. Now the other part is its user is it's up to us. What are we going to write here? It's not like automatically generated. Okay, so it's me going to write acceptable interesting, or I can say maybe fail forbidden. If I say forbidden, that means this test is going to fail. Okay, so far so good. Any questions? If there's no question, and then I would like to go to the code. So this example is taken from, I'll just see chat. Okay, so I don't see any questions. So okay, so probably this was basic one. Okay, so this is the in my IntelliJ, I have opened the JC Stress project. JC Stress we see on GitHub. I forked that, and that is cloned on my machine right now. Okay, and this is the test we saw in just now. Okay, and this test is available over here in JC Stress. So I'm just going to give you overview of like how this repository code is arranged. So this repository has a couple of parts: JC Stress benchmarks, JC Stress code. JC Stress code has its core classes which are going to help us running the test. Then it has samples. So the samples are going to be for tutorial. So this is the tutorial. You can imagine it doesn't have any PDF tutorial, but these are really nice examples. It talks about all the APIs it has, and we'll talk about these things. So first example is going to be simple.
Vipin, do you have a way to increase the font size a little bit?
Yes, yeah, I can do that. Is it better now? Can you see here? Is it better? Font size?
It's fine. It's good. I'm sorry. Yeah, I see perfectly.
Okay. Okay, but I can increase it a little bit more. Okay. So this is the example we saw. Right? This is it lies under GC Stress sample. Now I would like to build it. I would like to run it actually. Okay. So on this project on my command prompt, I'm using a Linux machine. Okay, so if tell me if you are going to find it difficult to read this font as well, because unfortunately I don't know how to increase this font, or maybe yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Okay, I think it will be better. So this is one of the command. Okay, and before running this, I can just show what do we have under GC. So as we talked about GC Stress, like this is the same repository. I opened my IntelliJ window, and it has all those folders. Now I would like to run the command. This is the command I'm running. We'll see a couple of things over here. Okay, it is complete. So first I'll show you the command. So this command is like java -jar. Then I'm giving jar file location. Because I did a mvn clean install, I was able to build this jar gcstress.jar. And then I'm specifying a option -t. Using -t, I can give the test name. So test name is API simple 01_simple, which is our test class name as well. This is our test class name, which is annotated with gcstress test. That's the reason I'm able to give this test class over here, and it executes the test. When it executes the test, it there's a couple of things, and you can see on my screen a couple of things are okay, a couple of things is failure, like this one is failed, then we have this one failure, right? And then a couple of other things are successful. So first I'll talk about, like, I'll just give you overview of why something failed. So some of the things are failed because this is the option added in Java 17, and JC_stress has also started using this option, stress IGV stress CCP. We'll talk about these different options later, but for now I just want to explain this is the problem. This is not a problem, but if there is any Java version you are using, it does, and that Java version does not support some of the things, then JC_stress is going to skip those parts. JC_stress is not going to complain. JC_stress is not going to fail. You can build JC_stress using JDK 11 or beyond, and you can run JC_stress test even for JDK 8 classes. Okay. Now I'll just show you my Java version here. I think I have 15. So this is my JDK 15 I have. That's the reason I got 2 problems. So these are the 2 problems. Okay. If I run the same program using JDK 17, I'll not have any problem. Okay. We'll run that as well and see. And before that, there are a few other things I see on the screen. I can explain that right now. So we see these are the 4 types of mode, pro being what VM modes are available. So these are the modes available. These are 4 type of modes in which we are running tests. And because this is concurrency stress test, each test is executed multiple times. So now you can see on my screen, it has like this is one part of result. Okay, and result says the object state is 1 how many times, this million number of times, 5 million something, and then it says yes, 1 was our acceptable interesting state, and this is the description. So now you see why we were giving this outcome. So let's go to the code again. So this is the way we gave output. We gave the output, and because we want it to be printed in our result. So we see both actors came up with the failure. See same thing over here. Okay, then we have acceptable part, 1 2 acceptable, 2 1 is acceptable, and how many times. So we see 87 million, 86 million. Okay, and these tests are specific to my machine, using a Linux machine, Ubuntu distro, and yeah, the particular machine hardware, it depends on a lot of factors. So if you run this on Windows machine, you may see some different results on basis of hardware. Okay, so this is the test. Then we have a couple of occurrences here. We'll see a complete result in our result.xml, this index.html. So it has my result. Let me open this. So this is my index.html. It has, on top of this, it has like which version of Java I'm using, a couple of other things, the architecture name, Linux name, then which kernel version I'm using, and then here it is test, all the tests. I'll click just one test. It shows no failure, no errors. Then I go to this part, then it has the same view we saw in our Linux terminal, like it's the same view, nice view over here in this HTML. Okay, we'll talk about these things, what are these different things, what are these different configurations also. Okay, but before that I'll jump back to the PDF. Okay, we'll see a couple of other things here, and any questions you have, please feel free to ask. We'll just look at the chat. Okay, nothing so far. Okay, now there's one more test we have. So we had a problem in our first GC stress test. The problem was, it says acceptable interesting. Okay, so I'll do the code. Other than acceptable interesting, I can say forbidden. So this is forbidden. Because I'm saying, if it is forbidden, that means I'm saying yes, this is something wrong, this is not expected behavior. So when I'm writing something, I'll if I want some test to fail, I will say forbidden. Okay, interesting is written because the developer already know this is not going to work. One is one can be a case because there's no guarantee Java memory model provides. One result of one thread is going to be seen by other thread. So that's the reason they already know. So they call it acceptable interesting. Okay. So I can make it forbidden. When I say forbidden, it is going to fail, and it goes in my failure queue. Okay. Now we have one more test which tries to fix. Okay, that is again going to be a like one of the sample test, concurrency sample 01 operation atomicity. I have taken it from the same GC stress samples. Okay, now this test is little bit different. Okay, I will try to open this in IntelliJ and I'll show you that. I think that would be better. So this is the test I was going to I was showing you here, atomic increment. Now if you look at this test, it is different. Okay, so sorry. So just one thing I wanted to say, like there's going to be a morning prayer around me, so you may get some noise 2-3 minutes, but tell me if you get the noise. I'll go and mute, and I'll take a 2-minute break. Okay. So now
you to increase the font again, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, so this test is a little bit different in the structure. If you other test, we see these metadata information, the outcome information, and the state. It is on top of the class. If we look at this class, I'm specifically showing you this class. It does not have metadata information on the class. It has metadata information on inner classes. So it has 3 inner classes: plain increment, atomic increment, and volatile increment. It is plain increment, this is volatile increment, and this is my atomic increment. Okay, and all of these 3 classes have different metadata. Okay, So we call it nested test. If there are some of the tests you have and all are related, because you see all are going to increment this. One is atomic, one is plane, one is volatile increment. So all are going to make some like similar, all are similar changes, all are going to increment. So that's the reason we clubbed it together. That's the functionality provided by GC Stress. We can club it together and we can run it. Okay. The other thing specific about this test is it uses a different API Arbiter. Okay, so what is Arbiter? And so there are let's go to Arbiter first. We'll see what is Arbiter, and then we'll try to run this test as well. And let me see this. We talked about atomic increment, so let's look at atomic increment for now. We'll focus on atomic increment. It has 1 expect equals to forbidden. That means no, you cannot have 1, yes, and 2 acceptable, yes. If it is atomic, then we are saying yes, it has to be always 2. And there are 2 threads we have. Actor 1 says increment and get, actor 2 says increment and get. Okay. Then we have Arbiter. What Arbiter does is, let's go to the documentation of Arbiter. I think you must be getting noise. Am I right, EL? I can go on mute for 2 minutes.
Okay, let's break. I can talk to some people here meanwhile.
Sure.
You can just mute. Yeah. So let's go here. I'll return to you. Oh, look what happened. My hair went all bad. I'll probably ask a question that you can answer later, but I didn't understand completely how it determines the number of runs. It looked like it ran several tests. One of them was 80 million, and then the results were like 80 million, and 5 million. So altogether there were like 200 million runs, and then there were other threads that were running. And actually, some of the threads in the first thread that ran, we saw that the forbidden or the not so great result was a lot smaller, and the other two were about the same, which is sort of what I would think will happen normally. But then we had runs which the first good result was a lot more than the second good result. How does it determine the number of times that it's going to run it, and why is it sort of different, why is it so? I would say it looks like more than just a coincidence. It looks like there is a good reason. In one case they're equally spread, and then you have a little bit of the other case, and then the other cases there is some bias between the two cases that are sort of supposed to be the same.
Right. So that's a great question. Yes, someone is speaking. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'll hide myself.
Okay, so good practices. Yeah, Thiago will talk about that also in a while. Okay, and to answer Iya's question, that's really a good question. That is something I'll need to cover in one of the next slide. Let me see. I think we can do that now as well. Okay, so we can talk about that now. Okay, so I'll start sharing my screen. So before going to Arbiter, let's do that. Let's talk about the result. Okay, so this is my result. Okay, if you look at this, it has a couple of things, right? First, if this is my result, the main table. It has TC1, TC2, TC3, TC4. So these are category of tests. What is TC1? This is the description of TC1. It has different JVM options like tiered compilation. The JVM option specified is tiered compilation, and then it has the TC2 has tiered compilation, access stress LCM, stress GCM. TC3 has a different argument, TC4 has a different argument. Okay, what are these? First question is what are these? Okay, we will talk about this, and then we have iterations. So first, let me show you these different options. So you can go to my blog I have on GC stress. It has some of the similar things we are talking about, and then meaning of like these VM options, because this is very important. So the first VM option we saw on our test is tiered compilation. So this is my tiered compilation. So it says use this or this. These are two options. When we are using tiered compilation, that means we want to disable C1. And when we are using the other one, we say tiered stop at level equals to 1, then we are trying to say disable C2. C1 or C2 are hotspot compiler we are talking about. So we are trying to say don't run any optimization. Hotspot compiler is part of JDK and it tries to do some optimizations. So we are to say don't do any optimization, stop C1, then we say okay, stop C2. We can put it together and we can say stop C1 and C2 both. Okay, then we have a few other things like stress LCM, stress GCM, and then we have accent that is also given over here. So stress LCM and stress GCM are these are also JVM options. We instruct GK to say reorder all the instructions, in all the ways you can, in all the ways it doesn't affect Java memory model, and it is still the correct code as per Java memory model. Because when we are trying to run our code, not exactly in the same sequence it is being executed by JDK. It does some changes, it does optimizations, and when we say stress LCM, stress GCM, it reorders those instructions irrespective of what is more performant. It reorders them. Okay, and it reorders it. If you look at this, it chooses a random instruction order which is out under JVM model, right? And that helps us to simulate different scenarios. So this is important part. That's the reason, because we want to make sure we want to simulate all the different scenarios, because you may, if I run the program one time, you may not see the problem in concurrency. But if I run this program 100 million times, you have higher chances you see this problem. Okay, there and because we can see different scenarios, and when we are adding these options, it increases probability of getting the problem. Okay. Now we'll also see, like we talked about 100 million and all, how many times. We'll see that in a while. Now it has the other part is iterations. How many iterations? So iterations are number of iterations 5. Then we have time is 100. Stride size is 10 to 10,000. So these are different options on basis of mode. The mode of test we try to run. So there are different modes we have, and the mode we are choosing is a default mode. We'll also see that if like how it changes depending on the mode. We'll try to run this test with a different mode, and then we will talk about these things, what exactly it means. Okay. For now, I'll focus on the question Eyal asked, like what are these different? How do we interpret this result actually? So if I look at test 1, these are the options from test 1. From test 1, I see object state is 1 1. So it came around 4 million times, and then 1 2 is around 111 million times, and then 2 1 is around 63 million times. Okay, So this is like first of all, these are number of occurrences. So for this many times, for around 43, I think 4 million, it is for around 4 million times when I executed this test, I got a state 1-1, and similarly 111 I got state 1-2. And as I said, why we are getting these many number of times? Because we want to simulate all different kind of scenarios. That's the reason GC stress is trying to execute as many times it can, right? Depending on the mode, we can even increase these tests, okay, on basis of mode, right? So the other question y'all asked was like why it is like this number of times. So the answer to this question, like, this is not specified. This is not specified as per Java memory model, because the test we are using, this is our test. So there is no guarantee that thread 1's updates are seen by thread 2. But with this behavior, we can see, with the result, we can see most of the cases, we see probably we can say 90% of the cases, this is true. Thread 1 state is seen by thread 2, but this is not all the time. So there are 5% cases or probably less where we get this problem as well. Okay, so that's the reason you see this number a little bit different, like lower number here. Okay, but it can increase as well. Okay, this is definitely dependent on number of CPUs I'm using. I have on my machine, like I have 16 core machine, so this is highly dependent on that as well. If you're running it on machine, you have 2 CPUs, you can see a different set of number as well. And that is also some configuration option I can do. I can try to have. So let me try to run this. I think that's good idea. I'll try to say used only 2 CPUs. You see hardware CPUs in 2. Okay. So I specified an option -C. We'll see what the different other options also available, but for now I can say I specified option -C, and I passed -C2. Now you see result is different, but not as we expected. I was thinking maybe it will increase, but actually it is decrease. So there are a lot of other things. It goes behind under the scene, how hotspot compiler is working, JDK is working. That's the reason this is not like we cannot see we cannot say what is going to happen in this case. Okay. Now we'll go to does that answer your question, Eyal? I guess he wants to say yes. So I'll go to other example where we are trying to fix the problem. So the problem we had in like one thread is updating, other thread cannot see the result. Now we can run the test atomic increment, and atomic increment is going to fix this. Okay. It does atomic increment and get, then the next one is doing increment and get, and then it uses arbiter. So before running, I'll talk about arbiter, because anyway I need to explain different APIs. For now, let's talk about arbiter. You can see arbiter here in case later you want to see on this documentation. This is the complete documentation how arbiter works. And also on my blog, I have a small description. This is arbiter. Okay, so the only special thing about arbiter is it runs when all the other methods are notated with actor. basically all other threads have completed, so that it can see the final result. In our case, it is going to be actor 1 and actor 2. So when I'm running one test, so for one test, like we are running millions of tests. So for particular test, for one test, when I execute actor 1 using, let's say, thread 1, actor 2 using thread 2, after both of these are finished, then arbiter is going to start. Okay, and then it is going to observe the state. It will check, okay, what is there in my state variable, which is AI. So it is going to see ai.get and it store it in R1. Now I think it is good time we talk about this result as well, because last time you see we had I underscore result. Now you have I underscore result. It has only R1. So let's look at this. What is this result? This is my result, I underscore result. It is annotated with a result. Okay, and this is part of the framework generated class. Okay, and then the important part is it has only one variable R1. Okay, and if I try to open I underscore result, it has two variables R1 and R2, two instance variables it has, right? So one thing is clear, depending on I, if I had single I, it was just one integer. If it is double I, then it is two integer. So this is a particular convention GC Stress is following. And for introduction, like, how it does it, I have this description on my blog. If I represents int, Z represents boolean, F represents float, and similarly. Okay, so if you need to let's say I need to use three integer variables, then I can expect GC Stress is already providing me three integers in II underscore result. So II underscore result is there, and I see R1, R2, and R3. Also, while I was running this, I was trying to see what are the options. You can see II, there are 5 II, 4 II, 6 II, and like a lot of other things are already available built in this tool. Okay, then I can try to say, okay, maybe I don't need this, I need a boolean and I need integer. So you have GI, and you see here this is one boolean, and then this is integer, and depending upon result we have our outcome as well. So this is first part of my outcome R1, this is my second part of outcome. Okay, so this is here my outcome. We have only one result here, R1, because this is a I underscore result class. It has only one variable, so it has only one component here. In case of this, we had two components and it has two. Okay. Similarly, there are a lot of other examples available in samples. Samples are basically just for tutorial purpose, but there are a lot of other samples we'll see available in GC Stress. Okay, so what I wanted to show you was a different API, Arbiter, and Arbiter is executed after the other threads are complete, and how it stored result in I under result. Now let's run this test and let's see how it works. I'll remove this -c option, okay, -t, and then this is my test name. It will take a while. 8 out of 12 is passed. Okay, it's complete. I'll open the results. If you open the results, these are results and it has interesting behaviors in these two cases. So let me open plain increment. Plain increment, this is my plain increment. Okay, and then let's open the other one, sorry. Okay, because we talked about atomic increment. So atomic increment, we see it is passed. We see it has only one state, 2, right? The other state we have is forbidden. The other state is 1, where we see, okay, one update is lost. That is forbidden. So if we somehow, if we get this result, it will show in our failures scenario. Okay, and okay, so we looked at this. Now there are other tests available which have some interesting result. So we can see that as well, like volatile increment. Volatile increment, this is acceptable interesting. This is acceptable interesting because it is acceptable. We already know, yes, this is a behavior as per Java memory model. Okay, so that's where we talked about atomic increment and different APIs. The new API we tried to see was arbiter, and how result is what kind of different result classes we have. How do we choose a new one we want? Okay. Any questions so far in this example, or we can go ahead and just take a look at chat. No questions so far. I hope all good. Okay, so we looked at this test. Now we are going to talk about the part like how do you run these tests? How do you run it for your project, right? If you want to do this. The one way is, the way I'm doing right now is I have taken GC stress repo, okay, and I built this from my master. So even before it is released, I am using the features. Okay, some of the features are latest features. I built it 2 days back, and still I see in last 2 days there were a couple of new features, and so it is really development, and the new features available in JDK 17 and everything is being incorporated. So this is really a latest updated tool, a very useful tool. So the other way, one thing is we can take GC stress repo, but if you're not doing any development with that, that's not recommended. So what you can do is you can create GC stress test using Maven archetype. So this Maven archetype you can see here. I'll share this presentation so you can take it from here. Also, this is available on the GitHub link README file that also talks about this. Okay, so you can run this just one command and it is going to generate a test. Okay, the test it is going to generate, I can just show you. I think I have the test it generates somewhere. Probably this one. Yes, so this is the structure. This is the structure of project it generates when you run the Maven archetype. So this project I created using Maven archetype. Okay, so it just gives us very basic scenario. It gives a concurrency test annotated with GC stress. Now you can write more tests, any test you want here. Okay, it generates a Maven project. The other thing is, we'll go to next part, running the test. We already saw how do we run the test. These are options if you are using GC stress repo from GitHub. Then you build it first, then it builds the GC stress jar, then you run the task, then you run your test using this. And you can specify -t to give the test name. Okay, then we saw how do we interpret results. We already saw that. Then we have the next part I'm going to talk about is different metadata. Okay, sorry, different APIs, which includes metadata, description, signal. Okay. So let's talk about these APIs, because knowing about these APIs is going to help you to write your own test. Close this. Because all of us are working on different projects. All of us have different scenarios that cannot be covered with actor and arbiter. So there are a few different things also it provides, GC Stress provides. So we looked at simple test, then arbiter we looked at already how it works. Then we have termination, third part. So if I talk about basic APIs, only starting 6 are going to cover that. Okay, so we'll talk about all 6 in these like next few minutes. Now the next one we are going to talk about the third one, termination test, termination scenario. In termination scenario, the difference you see is we are using a signal annotation. Now what signal does is you can go ahead and you can look at documentation. Okay, something similar I have given on like in my language. I have given description in my blog. You can open that. So this is signal. Signal is used for delivering a termination signal to actor. And this is the mode we'll see in code. It runs after the important part. This is the important part. It runs after actor in question started executing. Okay. So here, if I look at our example, this is my actor. So once this actor has started execution, then signal is going to run. So some other thread is going to run this signal. Okay. So here, if I look at actor 1, it does what? It just spins around v equals to 0, while v is equals to 0. It is going to spin, nothing else. But as soon as somebody else says, yes, I made v1, if it is able to see the result v, then it will come out, otherwise it will spin. Okay, so these are two behaviors. To test this kind of result, like earlier we saw 1 or 2 as a result integer, but now this is a different type of result. We have id, terminated, and stale. And for this we say mode termination. This is mode termination type of test we are writing. So that's why either you see terminated or we see a stale. Okay, now we can run this and we'll see. I think all of us already know what is going to be the result. We know in this code there is no guarantee this result is going to be delivered. Java memory model doesn't provide any guarantee here because this is plain V. Okay, this test is taking a little bit time. Okay, while it does few things, we can go to the code. And yeah, so we talked about like Java memory model, why it is going to be, why there are chances we will see a stale, because when the thread which is delivering signal v equals to 1, which is changing state of v, this state may not be seen by other thread even after a long time. Okay, that's where we are going to get this condition stale and test hung up. Okay, now we have result. This is my result. So in case of test 1, I have only 1 stale and 0 terminated. Okay, it executed only once. And then test 3 0 stale, test 4 0 stale, and terminated our 45984545. So these green ones are like acceptable, and this is interesting. We know this is going to hang up. Okay, but we also know that test 3 and 4, in these situations, it is not going to give, it is not giving us stale. Okay, but I cannot be sure that yes, these particular conditions it works fine, because it really depends on the mode. Okay, so I think it's good time we talked about the mode. What is the mode I'm talking about? So for that, I'll run help command. Okay, so I executed this java minus jar and then gc stress jar dot minus h. Minus h is going to give us help. Let's look at different options. We have minus m mode. So test mode preset: sanity, quick, default, tough, and stress. From left to right, it goes it becomes more rigorous. Sanity is just going to execute probably once, and then quicker is going to execute a couple of modes. Default we are already running. Then we have tough and then stress. So so the suggestion is from GC stress, definitely we should be running at least once our test in stress. First time when I'm developing, at least I should be running in stress, so that I try to make sure it has executed a couple of million times, and all kind of different scenarios are verified. Okay, and how it matters, there's one more thing of the mode we can see. I think we can see in our code. I would like to show you. So this is kind of how do we read the code of GC stress. GC stress, this is GC's, it must be present in GC stress core somewhere. Let's look at this. Yes, it is part of GC stress core, you can see. Now it has, why I'm showing you the class is because it has the mode, and we'll see different modes, what exactly GC stress is doing for different modes. See this, it has mode. We are taking mode over here. Then it has a couple of conditions in mode. If it is sanity mode, then time it gives is 10, iterations 1, fork is 0, min stride 10, max stride 10, and then optimized mode is none. Okay, we'll talk about all of these things, what is meaning of this, but for now I'll just go over this code and show you the, as we go further, like after sanity we have quick, something increases, time is increased. We see iterations, earlier it was 1, now it is 5. Fork is, earlier it was 0, now it is 1, right? So now we see now default and time is increases to 1000. This is in millisecond, so it increases to 1000. Then we have 5 iterations and 1 fork. We have been running so far our default scenario, so let's look at this, where exactly we have in our test result. So if you look at this test result, this is for my default. So it says iteration is 5, time is 1000 millisecond, and stride is 10 to 10,000. So these two parts are, I think, clear, at least time part and iterations. So let's talk about this. But first I would like to explain what is the stride and why we have 10 and 10,000 like minimum and maximum, two values we have. You can look at here as well. We have two type of strides, min and max. On basis of it decides the stride. So because I'm talking about stride is the number of I should say number of cases it is going to execute. So basically for 1 to execute a one test, what it is going to do is it is going to create a state object, API sample 0 underscore simple, and to store result it is going to create one II underscore result. Okay, so the number of times it creates this object and same number of times it is going to create result object, it is my stride. Okay, so this is my stride GC stress. Now this number is decided on basis of mode, on basis of few other factors like time, iterations and all. This number is decided on basis of that. Okay, now we talk about stride, and then I think as we go on we will talk about the other options as well. What are the other different options? Okay, we'll run some tests and we'll see what are different options. Okay, so for now we saw result, actor 1, actor 2, and we were looking at options. So this is the class I wanted to show you, like, you know, you can how can you read this, how can you, if there is any problem counter and you want to see how to, like, what exactly it is doing, you can try to see this. You can try to go to option class. In particular, in case of mode, this is what it does internally. Okay, also there's, because we are talking about this framework, also if I try to see what exactly is going to be executed, what is going to be a kind of main class for my GC stress test, I can look this. So this is my test and this is one class generated by GC stress. So this is going to be the class GC stress is going to run. So if you look at this class, this is not something we generate. Again, I want to highlight, what we want to write is this class. It is generated by GC stress. Why I'm showing you is just because in case someday you have any question why how it is working, like I had questions like what is my stride size. So that's where I was able to understand using this class. So you see this API 01 simple IA underscore result, it is GS and GR. So this is array, and size of the array, if you look at size of the array, it's decided on basis of stride. So it is decided on basis of config.min stride. This is how it is decided. Okay, and then it runs it couple of times, and yeah, for that these are the methods: task actor 1, task actor 2. So this is something internal to GC stress, but in case you want to see yes how exactly it is happening, then you go ahead and see this. Okay, now we see a couple of APIs already, like we talked about signal so far. I'll close other classes. So we saw simple test, we saw actor, then we saw arbiter, then we saw signal. We talked about signal. Okay, and we try to execute this as well. Now we'll see a different API nesting. We already have executed a test, nested test, which was our atomic increment case. This is similar sample test explaining what is nesting. Okay, so we see here we have a static class plain test, volatile test, and it has different annotations. Okay, so this is similar to, exactly similar to what we saw earlier in case of atomic increment. Now the other thing is, if you notice, we are kind of repeating this information. This is same over here, the same information I would say I highlighted here. This is the same information on the class as well. So there is a way we can use shared metadata, and that's our next API. So we have shared metadata over here. Now if you look at this shared metadata, we are seeing this metadata to this class, nested test, we are saying this metadata is its metadata is available on this class, this dot class. In our case, this is the same class, but it can be a different class as well. Okay, and it specifies this metadata. Okay, and the same one we are again saying in volatile test as well. You take it from this class. Okay, there are cases when we try to create some classes with only metadata. We can just write a metadata, nothing else in the class, and then that metadata can be used elsewhere. Okay, so something like this I can, and I can use this metadata across all my tests I want. Okay, it may be suitable for the scenarios where we know we are testing a particular case. Okay, there are a lot of such examples already available in JC stress tests. We can look at that as well. Okay, just because we are talking about it. So for this, I would go and search for test all, test custom. This is my test custom. Test custom has Java. Then I have different scenarios. This like our favorite volatile. Lot of tests with volatile. Okay. This is my first volatile test. It has two variables. Then it has somewhere it should have double check locking related test as well. Maybe that's a different section. I'll search that. Test singleton, it has in test custom. Okay, so it is part of our singletons. We have double check locking related tests. Just because I opened this, I want to show you. So this is the test I was talking about. Okay, and yeah, now I'll go back to our examples. So we talked about shared metadata. Close all the other classes. This is my shared metadata, and we talked about it like we can have even class having only metadata, and that can be used here. Okay, the next thing is, and I think the last API in this is going to be description and reference. We have an option to give description. You can say simple hello test, hello world test. Then we can give reference, some URL I can give here. So sometimes this is useful when we want to see our result, want to see this. Okay, what is my test description and what is my reference? So let's look at our test old result. We see description reference is null. Okay, description reference nothing, and it says null. Okay, let's try to execute a test which has this test and description. I'll execute this one. This is my result. I'll open this. See, we have description says hello, sample hello world test, and it has printed my reference as well. Probably in my case, I want to print something else, some other description. I want to say, yes, I'm executing this test for this scenario. If it works fine, that means this. If it is bad, that means that. I want to say that, and I want to include a link. There's an option. Okay. So this is it about the different APIs it provides. Now, depending upon your use case, you can use these different APIs to test your scenario. Okay, And as I shown you, a lot of such tests are already available in GC Stress repo. In case you need a reference, you can go through these tests. Like we have some tests in atomicity, we have some atomic classes related tests. I think atomics is atomic classes. I think yes, Boolean initial value test. See, I open this. This is atomic Boolean related test. Okay, it lies under this Boolean section, atomic section. Okay, and we have executors related tests. So this is my thread pool executor related test I have here. Okay, it works on the same principle, two actors. When the state is going to be here, my pool is going to be my state, it does something, then arbiter is going to check something from the state. It takes allowed core thread time, get keep alive time. Okay, so all are given in the same format. Any questions you have so far? Anything about the APIs, different APIs we talked about? Okay, if no questions, I guess I go here.
I see a question from Tiago.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Not necessarily about the APIs,
yes.
But a more general question.
Right. Are there any good practices recommended for JC Stress CI? Right. So yes, the one thing I will tell you is, I recently found an example using Eclipse collection. Let me show you that. Okay. So there are a couple of things in this. For CI, maybe I should search it on Google. That's going to give me a better result. Yeah, so this is a example I want to show you because it uses GC stress tests. Okay, so the way it is created is, this is from the recommendation. Let me show you that. So if you look at this README file, it has a recommendation. So first it talks about using GC stress as separate dependency. Okay, so then if you want to create a GC stress as separate dependency in your project, then you are recommended to create a submodule with GC stress test, which will use GC stress libraries and build steps. Okay, so this is exactly what is used in Eclipse collections. I'll show you in a while. And the next part, it talks about the creating a Maven archetype, which is a simple test setup you want to create to play on something with it on your local machine, or maybe you to build a separate project. In that case, it is helpful. So let's look at a recommended example in Eclipse collection. This is the best example I could find on internet. It has GC stress tests. This is, you can see, this is one of the submodule in Maven project. This is also a Maven project. Okay, so one thing I wanted to show you is, this is one example. The other thing about you, because you talked about the recommendation, other thing, the recommendation for specifically for CI tool, I would say in CI tools we want our results to be fast. Okay, so the first time when you are running your test, you always run with a mode stress. Okay, we looked at those modes. Let me open that again. So these are different modes: sanity, quick, default, tough, and stress. So when first time you're running test, you run it with stress. Okay, but when you are running it with stress, it takes a lot of time as well. Okay, so I'll show you. I'll try to run a test. Simple, this one I can run 9M. and I'll say stress. Okay, now you see this is going to take, like, it is going to start 10 forks, 50 iterations. Let's try to see how much time it takes. Okay, or I should cancel this and I should start timing it. Okay, so after this we'll get a result also, like how much time it is going to take. What I'm trying to show here is it takes a lot of time when we are running, and it is useful when you do it first time. But when you are doing it in your CI test, right, you may want to use the other option, which is uh, Sanity. So people generally use Sanity because they just want to finish their CI pipeline quickly. They don't want to, definitely nobody wants to wait longer time for a CI pipeline, right? And once we know this is tested, then we are more confident. We can do through Sanity or maybe Quick. Okay. So you can see it is still taking time. I'll let it run and then we'll see how much time it took. Like 8 out of 40 forks are completed and still it is running. Okay, so that was the recommendation about CI pipeline. And is that okay, Thiago? Any questions with this? Okay, great, thanks. Okay, so we talked about useful APIs here. We saw different APIs, how can you use in your projects, and then this is also part of the APIs. Okay, then we saw different modes. These are helpful options we talked about. So we already see the modes. Then we have test name. We already see how can specify test name with -t. Then there are options for verbose results, number of CPUs used. So we already used number of CPUs with -c in one of our tests. And for verbose results, you need more verbose results, you can use -v. Even very recently, there were some additions in GC stress with -VV and -V triple V. So that is very interesting. It is taking some time. It is still not finished. I can open a new window and I can show you at least. Okay, I'll let that run and I'll show you the other options. Okay, so see this B verbose -VVB extra verbose, and this is really interesting and funny. B extra verbose. Okay, I can run one test and see just to see what is -VV. Recent option added, I think it was just added last week. Well, I should zoom it. Okay, I hope you can see it now. So I'll run this test with -VV. So you see it has printed some extra verbose results. C2 compile method. In this font it is not perfectly visible. I'll try to see if it is available in my result XML as well. Sorry, index.html as well. This is new behavior. I'm not sure if it is available. Yeah, it is not available. Okay, but overall what it does is it tries to print the hot loop. So something similar to what JMS does, Java Micro Benchmarking Harness API. So something similar to what JMS does, it tries to do that, but this is not as extensive as GMS. So in case you really want to find out exact performance root cause of your problem, you are recommended to use GMH. But they added a new functionality to provide something in GC stress. If you want something quickly, yes, you're running a GC stress test and you want to see what is my hot loop, where exactly is my hot loop. Okay, so this is the method run actor. Then it tries to show something, total in heap. Okay, and then it prints some addresses. So this is really something new for me as well. I need to check how to interpret this result, but yes, this functionality is available. Okay, and maybe somebody, if somebody is has expertise in C++ and yeah, used to looking at these addresses and all, they can help. Okay. Okay, so my test is complete now. So it has taken this, the other test I was running in my stress mode. Okay, it has taken 4 minutes of time. Okay, so in ICA line, definitely I don't want to do that, but when I'm running this test first time, I would prefer that. Let's see this result file. So if you look at the result file, you see the number of times it has executed. This is really like this is really a huge number, and maybe it goes in billions. Trying to see, yes, it goes 7 billion, then 3 billion. This is like 108 million times. So this is just test one. So this is really the extensive test, and we definitely want to do this kind of test when we are doing it first time. Sorry. Okay, so now I'll go back to the helpful command options we talked about. So we looked at one of the option we added, it was added recently, -VV. Okay, and then let's look at the other options, other helpful options. Okay, we'll briefly talk about all these. This is de-optimization mode related test. We can specify de-optimization mode, like this is all de-optimize everything, and then none is like no de-optimization. We can say -F forks should fork each test n times. Okay, so when I'm not giving fork, it is 0 to run in embedded mode with occasional forking. Okay, and I can specify 1, that means it is kind of I'm running it multiple times, many forks of test I'm running. Okay, and then -H we already see. -HS is I can specify the heap size, iterations per test. So this is the iterations per test we saw on, this is the iterations we see in our result. Okay, 50 iterations. And then we have JVM arguments. If you want to specify a particular JVM argument, you can specify that. Maybe I want to say, for example, I want to say use G1 GC or parallel GC. I can specify that. Okay, and then couple of other options, right? Like max stride, min stride. On depending on max stride and min stride, depending on time and few other things, it decides the number of strides. Okay, and then yeah, these are the options. Almost all we talked about already, we saw that. Okay, then I'll try to see what is next. Yes, we try to see the result classes as well. Okay, and these are the links we were talking about, like GC stress. This is GC stress repo link. This is Eclipse collections link. Okay, and I think we covered everything. I'll just look at There is one more thing I want to talk about. I want to explain you like what JC Stress provides. This JC Stress API provides. It is that I'll go to this. You can look at these JMM samples. So if you look at the atomicity JMM samples, right? So JMM samples talk about Java memory model. Specifically, if you want to understand that more, like finals, this is a common problem. What is final doing? How finals are initialized? Okay, so in that case, you can look at this. You can try to experiment this. You can try to change things here and there. How JMN, how final fields are initialized. What happens if you initialize inside constructor and all, right? What guarantee it provides. You can try to play around with this. Okay, so these are really helpful. It helps us to understand more details about Java memory model as well. This is the Java memory model is kind of concept, like it's not written anywhere in any book, like you understand it. In my experience, I have seen even JDK developers, they try to experiment with this. They try to see what is possible and what is not possible in Java memory model using GC stress test. So this is a really very useful tool to understand Java memory model as well. You can experiment and you can see what is going to happen in this scenario. And that's the problem with concurrency. When I'm writing a concurrency code, I'm using finals, I'm using volatiles. What all guarantees it is going to provide? In normal scenarios, we know, but there are different cases when it is initialized inside constructor, outside constructor. It is a little bit confusing sometimes how it is going to behave. Either you go and read Java language specification or you can test it here. So both are the options. Okay, so I think I have pretty much covered everything about stress test and how you can use in your projects. And I think we can talk about any questions you have now. I'll stop sharing. Yeah, I see some questions. Can I run JC Stress with Spring Context or Mockito? I have not tried it. Okay, but the way you would want to, I think there should not be any problem. You can do that. Okay, but generally the way you want to test a behavior is you want to see how your for example, let's take an example. I'll share my screen. So generally, if you look at this final int, right, final init, right, I want to see first look at the plain init, plain initialization. Okay, so this is my object, which is plain object, and it's not final object. I'm initializing this in actor 1, then I'm doing some processing in actor 2. I'm reading it. Okay, and here these are not final variables, these are just integer variables. Okay, now in my other test, I have these as final variables. Okay, so generally when I'm testing with JC Stress, I'm trying to make sure from point of view of threading it is correct or not, because no, I don't think anybody is going to write this kind of test, this kind of code in their like application. Okay, what it will be in a typical scenario is maybe I have a account object, maybe I have a bank account object here, and I'm initializing bank account. Maybe I have something else, maybe I have a book object, library object, a real world object I'll have. Okay, and then I'm going to be initializing this. Okay, and I do few other things also on top of that. Okay, but when I'm trying to test it from point of view of JC Stress, what I would like to do is I'll just keep the bare minimum things. So I know I have a bank account object and I know I'm initializing it in a constructor. So So I'll just keep that part in my test. Okay, initialize bank object, initialize it in a constructor, and if there are few other things I'm doing with bank object, which or probably account object. So if there are few other things I'm doing with account object, then I'll do that. If those are relevant in my stress test, if those are relevant, I want to make sure concurrency behavior, I want to test that particular concurrency behavior, then I'll use only that. Okay, so I would rather not use anything related to Spring, because that's a library and I'm not going to test if that is going to be thread safe or not. And if that is thread safe, it clearly provides this is a thread safe, and if that is not thread safe, you can really see on a documentation. Okay, but maybe if there is any particular use case you have, then you can use that. It just becomes a library in your POM XML. Does that answer your question? Hey, thanks for joining us, Bill. Okay, great, thanks. Any other questions?
So what we can do is, if you still have time to stay, and if anybody else has still time to stay, even though it can be getting somewhat late, but we would love for you to come and join us at the tables at the lounge. So let's just head there, and even it's for a minute or two, if you want to say thank you in person or anything else, ask questions, talk about things. Let's break the session and go to those to the table. Let's go to table number 1 in the lounge. So Vipin, thank you very much. This was very thorough, very good, and it's something that we don't see very often being presented. So I'm very happy you came and spoke to us about.
I'm glad you liked it. Thanks, Yal, and it was really great opportunity talking to you guys, making new friends. So, and I'm going to stay. Yes, definitely.
Okay, then thank you. Thanks everybody. Let's go to the lounge.